I'm good.
I think I couldn't reach the Western because it was 3 o'clock and they close on Sundays at 3 o'clock. So I should go again tomorrow.
You know, I have to pay the fees, but she did something wrong, so you pay the fees. So either tomorrow I go and send you another one, or you tell me I give it to another one.
Okay, so how much did you send?
Like I gave her 40, she sent 36. You know.
Yeah, it's okay. But later, don't you want? Didn't you say you will have classes for?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah, it's okay.
Alright.
Even if you don't have classes, it's okay.
No, don't.
So just pass, make me happy.
Alright.
Yeah.
Listen, I have pictures. I want to show you.
Okay.
I want just you to tell me the things I have to identify. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna share screen with you. Like you will feel the opposite, like someone is sharing screen with you. Share screen.
We just have 5 minutes, so
Okay.
because then we have to connect Olivia.
Where is the share screen? Yeah, share screen.
Huh? So go on the call above it. Do you see call?
Now it's okay, right?
No. Look, I share my screen. I'll show you.
Now.
No. Look, do you see my screen?
No.
What about now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you see call here?
Yeah.
Call, share screen, and then start.
I share the screen, right?
Oh yeah, it's so small. This is how you also see on my screen, so small.
No. Wait, call.
I see your screen.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
show me the pictures.
Okay. Do you see?
You took pictures.
Yeah, I have everything.
Okay, so here you have to recognize this is if you topic the oral and nasal cavity, okay?
Okay.
So like frontal sinus, sphenoid
This one
sinus.
frontal sinus, right?
Yeah.
This one the quana. The
Concave.
bulla.
Concave.
Yeah, concave.
Yeah. So soft, hard palate, soft palate, vertebral column, spinal cord, and then tongue and muscles of the tongue.
Yeah. And like this one is the epiglottis, right?
Yeah.
This one the larynx, and this part is the laryngopharynx, right?
So here is nasopharynx, oropharynx. This is laryngopharynx.
Okay. And this one, the thing you said, like they ask you to identify for the muscles, right?
Do you have a specimen for the tongue?
No, I mean for the pharynx.
For the pharynx, here you can't.
This one. You remember you told me like yesterday in the class they open the head and they show you the muscles of the pharynx.
Yeah.
These ones?
The one that they turn the head backward.
You mean when they show the suboccipital region?
Yeah, so you know, they lift the head, they cut it from vertebral column, and they lift the head.
Maybe in other folders. Anyway.
You had one, I saw.
Now?
Yeah, it was one of them. The head was lifted up.
This one?
Yeah.
I can't show the... Where is the pharynx? Like the muscles of the pharynx? Which one?
Is it this is vertebral column? Because I don't see well. This is vertebral column.
You don't see the full screen?
Like I see, but it's really small.
No, I can't see vertebral column. It's like only the head, you know?
Mm.
Anyway. This is all the pharynx. You know, like hidden neck, it's not hard, but it's so much like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of details.
Yeah, a lot of details.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I still remember the thorax.
You will, don't worry. Okay, should we add Olivia?
Yeah.
So I should call,
Yeah.
disconnect here and then
Yeah.
call.
Alright.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay. Olivia, are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you guys studied
Yes.
everything?
No, not the pharynx, not all.
Okay, so tell me, Abdullah, what are the muscles of the tongue?
We have intrinsic, extrinsic. Intrinsic, we have longitudinal, transverse, and vertical.
Why
The-
do you call them intrinsic, and
Because-
what is the function of intrinsic muscles?
Because intrinsic, because they originate and insert inside the tongue.
Yeah, and what's the function?
I don't know the function.
They alter the shape of the tongue.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah,
seen
yeah,
some
yeah.
people like they
Yeah,
change
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
shape?
Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
we have extrinsic,
Yeah.
styloglossus,
Yeah.
palatoglossus, genioglossus, hyoglossus.
Okay, what's the function of genioglossus?
Genioglossus is to protrude the tongue outward.
Okay, what kind of muscles are these?
Skeletal muscles.
What's the innervation of these? Motor innervation.
The motor innervation, all of them, hypoglossal nerve, except palatoglossus, it's by vagus.
Okay, good. Olivia, tell me what is the sensory innervation of the tongue, both general and taste sensation?
We can divide it into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. For the anterior 2/3, the general sensation is the lingual nerve, and for the taste sensation is the coda tympani, and for the posterior 1/3, no matter it's general or taste sensation, is the glossopharyngeal.
Yeah, what about epiglottis if you go more backward?
Vagus nerve.
Okay, so tell me what are the muscles of soft palate?
Soft palate, we have 5 muscles, which are the ovularis, the palatoglossus, palatopharyngeals, and tensovellipalatini, levatorvellipalatini.
Okay, Abdullah,
Yeah.
what is ring of Waldeyer?
The connection between the tonsils of the soft palate. We have 5 tonsils.
What do you mean of soft palate?
Of the not the soft, the tonsils.
Okay,
Yeah, we connect them together. They form the ring.
so what are the lymph nodes? And tell me which ones are paired, which ones are unpaired.
We have one lingual.
You should start from up.
Okay,
Then come
one
all the way
pharyngeal.
down. Yeah?
And 2 tunzal or tunzar.
Tubal. Yeah?
And one lingual and the palatine and 2 palatine.
No.
No?
One pharyngeal.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you find it?
The pharyngeal one,
Mm-hmm.
is it between the 2 folds? Because the tonsillar bed?
No.
No.
It's in the nasopharynx.
Yes. Where in the nasopharynx? Pharyngeal is under the basilar part of occipital bone in nasopharynx. This is pharyngeal. 1. Then where we have torus tuba. Do you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have 2, one on each side, tubal tonsils. Then we go down in the oral cavity. This one is palatine tonsil. This is between the folds.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is also 2. We have one lingual tonsil which is under the root of the tongue, right?
Okay.
Okay, Olivia, tell me what is hard palate? What is it made of?
made of two bones, which are the palatine process of the maxilla and the horizontal plate of the palatine bone.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions?
No.
Okay, Abdullah, what are you said you didn't go through pharynx. What about you, Olivia? Have you gone through pharynx?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What are the muscles of pharynx? We divide them into two groups.
Yeah, the elevator and constrictor.
Yeah.
The elevator runs longitudinally.
Yeah.
So there are three muscles, which are the palatopharyngeals and salpingopharyngeals and the stylopharyngeals.
Yeah, where does salpingopharyngeus originate from?
Originate from the
That's why we call it salpingo. Where does it originate from?
Auditory tube.
Huh?
Auditory tube?
Yeah, auditory cartilage.
Yeah.
Okay, what about constrictors? Where do you find superior constrictors? At which level?
oral cavity.
Yeah.
And
What about middle?
Middle is at the level of
Hyoid bone.
hyoid bone. And
Yeah,
then
and inferior.
it's at the level of thyroid and cricoid.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go and talk about parapharyngeal and retropharyngeal space. Probably you've heard in the practice about these two, right?
Yes.
Let me find a picture that is with fascia. Okay, play 35, Abdullah. And also played 73. Okay. So we talk. Do you know which view are we looking at this? Like
It's
where do
anterior.
you see this in the cadaver?
Posterior.
Yes, so they cut the head, vertebral column is on the floor, on the table, they lift the head up. So these are the muscles of pharynx, superior, middle, inferior. This is esophagus. What is this?
Trachea. No, thyroid gland.
Yeah, this is thyroid gland. Okay, so here we have pharynx. Parallel with the pharynx, it means here and here. We have two space. They are called parapharyngeal space. Okay? Or also some teacher, they say peritonsillar space. In the topic list, you have parapharyngeal. It's a connective tissue space which contains a lot of important structures. First, we go through borders. Just imagine in your body, touch here. What do we have posteriorly to here? We have, what is this? Sternocleidomastoid and posterior belly of digastric, because both of them come from mastoid process. So if you touch your body, this space, you see behind it, you have mastoid process. So posteriorly, you have the two muscles that originate from mastoid process, okay? What do we have superiorly? If I go from here a bit up, we have base of a skull, you can say. Okay? Or also you can say infratemporal surface of greater wing. Both of them are correct. If I go inferiorly, look what do I have in this space. I see carotid artery, jugular vein. If I continue this space down, so you see on the other side, it ends or it continues into scalenotracheal fossa, right? So inferiorly, it is continuous to scalenotracheal fossa. What about medially? Look, this is medially. What do you have medially? Pharynx.
This is pharynx.
What about laterally?
Parotid gland.
Very good. Laterally, we have parotid gland and we have ramus of mandible. Which muscle is attached to the ramus from inside, to the angle from inside?
Pterygoid.
Medial pterygoid muscle. Yes, they are laterally. What about anteriorly? Just imagine from here go anteriorly. Like from here, so it's somewhere here.
Oral cavity.
We have fat here in the cheek. We call it beachhead fat pad. Okay, so anteriorly we have beachhead fat pad. We have a lot of important structures here. We have a bone first here.
But first, medially we said muscles of pharynx, right?
Yeah, so you know, medially you have two things. You have in front and behind. So here, in front it's pharynx, behind I will tell you later, you have retropharyngeal space. Yeah, so medially, look, you have pharynx.
Yeah.
So, first, which muscle do we have here?
Posterior digastric.
So, which bone? We have a styloid process, yeah?
Styloid.
And they are three muscles that originate from a styloid process. So, we said a styloid process and a styloid muscles, which are a stylohyoid, a styloglossus, and the one that you see here is a stylopharyngeus. What is the innervation of a stylohyoid?
Stylohyoid, it's number 12.
Stylohyoid, it's a suprahyoid muscle. A stylohyoid and posterior belly of digastric.
It's by the facial nerve.
Styloglossus is a muscle of tongue, so it's innervated by
hypoglossus.
Yes, hypoglossal nerve. And you have a stylopharyngeus. It's a muscle of pharynx. It's innervated by
pharyngeal plexus.
It was the one which is exception. So it's innervated by glossopharyngeal nerve, right?
Okay.
Then we have nerves. You can find cranial nerves 9, 10, 11, 12 and sympathetic trunk in this region. So we should go one by one in order and try to find them. When we are anteriorly, like in the neck, do you remember we have internal jugular vein and carotid artery?
And between we have vagus.
And between, very good, we have vagus. Now you're looking from back, right? So till level of thyroid is common carotid, then divide into external and internal. What is this? Is it external or internal?
It is internal.
Yes, you're looking from other side, so this is internal carotid artery. And then between them, if you're in the neck, it's between and it goes behind. You have vagus. So now it's between and on top. So do you see this nerve? In between these two, this is vagus.
Okay.
Then do you remember in the neck behind the carotid artery we have sympathetic trunk? So now on top of the carotid artery we have sympathetic trunk, and here it's very obvious. You can see superior cervical sympathetic ganglion. So here you can see the ganglion. Do you see?
Yes.
Okay. Then we have number 9. How do we find glossopharyngeal nerve? A stylopharyngeus muscle innervated by glossopharyngeal nerve. The muscle is here. Do you see it?
Yes.
So the nerve, the glossopharyngeal, pierces the stylopharyngeus muscle. Okay? Then we have 11 accessory. What does it do? It innervates
trapezius and sternocleidomastoid.
What is this sternocleidomastoid? Do you see this nerve piercing the sternocleidomastoid?
Yes.
So this is accessory. What is left? 12. Do you remember in the neck 12 vagus? It makes it goes like this, like a loop above internal jugular vein and carotid artery. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So, do you see this small loop here? Do you see this nerve?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It doesn't come down.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you don't see the rest because it goes in front. So this is hypoglossal nerve.
Hypoglossal.
Okay? So if we want to say in order, first here piercing a stylopharyngeus, you find glossopharyngeal. Then these two, they're long, both of them. They're the only one which are long. The one with ganglion and more medially is sympathetic trunk. The one which is thicker and is between the two is vagus. Accessory pierce the sternocleidomastoid. and 12 between the artery and vein makes a loop and go in front. So do you see all of them? They have different shape, different pathways. So you're not gonna mix them together. If you know they are here, you can find them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then which vessels do we have? Which arteries and veins? We have common carotid, which divided into external and internal. You can see internal. What
Internal
else?
jugular.
Which vein do we have?
Internal jugular.
Yes. What are these lymph nodes around internal jugular vein?
It's the
All them?
jugular, omohyoid, jugular, digastric.
No, jugulo-omohyoid, jugulo-digastric, they were on top of internal jugular
cervical?
and close to digastric. On top of internal jugular, close to omohyoid.
Are they the
They
deep
were
cervical?
on top, they were called deep cervical. So they are deep cervical nodes.
Okay.
Yeah? So do you see this one?
Yes.
Can be jugulo-omohyoid and this one can be jugulo-digastric. But these are deep cervical.
Okay.
Okay? So, did you understand how to identify the nerves?
Yes.
Then, behind the pharynx here, it means between pharynx and vertebral column, there is a space. This is called retropharyngeal space, okay? Now, we're going to look at this picture. Look, do you remember this is vertebral column? Yeah?
Yeah.
And here, we have some fascias. Do you see?
Yes.
So this is thyroid gland, this is trachea, this is esophagus, between esophagus, then continue. So this is, pharynx, lower is esophagus. Between pharynx and vertebral column, there is a space. Do you see?
Yes.
So here we have a lot of fascias. Do you see the first fascia here, the green one?
Yeah.
It's called bucopharyngeal fascia. Yeah?
Okay.
And then we have another one, this brown one. It's called alar fascia. Between bucopharyngeal and alar fascia, do you see this space?
Yes.
It's called retropharyngeal. Retro means behind, retropharyngeal space. Yeah? And after that, we learned before, we have vertebral column which are covered with anterior vertebral muscles, and what is this? Perivertebral fascia. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So between bucopharyngeal fascia and alar fascia, there is a space which is called retropharyngeal space. It's behind the pharynx and it's in front of vertebral column.
So
This
both
space, huh?
both bucopharyngeal and alar fascia, they are in the anterior side.
What do you mean anterior side?
Like I'm looking at you wrote like borders, anterior bucopharyngeal and alar fascia. Both anterior.
Anterior to what?
The borders of retropharyngeal space.
No. So do you see this space?
Yes.
This is retropharyngeal.
Okay.
So in front of it is bucopharyngeal
Bucopharyngeal.
fascia. Behind it is alar fascia.
Okay. I get it. Okay.
It's between these two.
Yeah.
If I want to say something big, I can say retropharyngeal space is between pharynx and
The vertebral column.
vertebral column.
Mhm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And this space is a connective tissue space which makes the movements of the pharynx easy, so you can swallow something. Pharynx is not attached to the vertebral column. There is a space between these two. Yeah?
Yes.
In this space, we just have some lymph nodes. They're called retropharyngeal lymph nodes, and we have pharyngeal venous plexus and pharyngeal plexus. Pharyngeal plexus is the plexus which innervates the muscles of pharynx and soft palates. But all of them are theory. It's not something you can find. But all the structures of parapharyngeal space you have to find. Okay?
Okay.
So, don't you have any questions?
No.
If not, we start with the larynx, then we get back to the nerves in detail, like the branches of the nerves.
Okay.
Okay. What is larynx made of?
Cartilage.
Yes. So pharynx is made of
Muscles.
muscles, larynx is made of
Cartilage.
cartilage. Do you know which cartilages do we have?
Thyroid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage.
Yeah?
That's all I know.
Okay. Now look at this picture. You also have a model in the practice, right, Olivia?
Yeah.
No? Don't you have a model?
Yeah,
Plastic
we have.
model.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
I was a student, we had it.
yeah, we had it.
Okay, look. Now we're looking from front.
Mhm.
When you're looking from front, this is also what you see in the neck. First, you see hyoid bone.
Yes.
Then you see thyroid cartilage.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see cricoid cartilage. Okay? Hyoid bone, it has two horns, greater and lesser horn. Thyroid cartilage, it has two lamina. These are the two lamina. Then we have a horn which goes up. Do you see this? If you look from back, it's more visible. This is superior horn and this is inferior horn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Superior horn through membranes joined with hyoid bone, inferior horn joined with cricoid cartilage. And do you see this? When we have the two lamina of thyroid cartilage, they meet sharper in male, like 90-degree in male. So they form an elevation in male, which is called Adam's apple.
Mm-hmm.
And in female, they meet rounder, like in 120-degree.
Mm-hmm.
Did you understand?
Yeah.
So when you have the two lamina in male, they meet like that. So they have an elevation here. It's called Adam's apple or laryngeal protuberance, laryngeal something, prominence. Yeah, laryngeal prominence. In female, they meet rounder, 120 degrees. So we don't have it. Okay. Then, so thyroid cartilage, you see the most part of thyroid cartilage anteriorly. Do you see?
Yes.
Posteriorly, you just have the horns. Then we have cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage is a ring shape. This is cricoid. You see this arch? This is arch. This is lamina. You see arch is thinner. Arch is anteriorly. Lamina, which is thicker, is posteriorly. So we see most of the cricoid posteriorly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then on top of, so anteriorly, that's it. Then we have other cartilages. What is this you see here?
Epiglottis.
Yeah, epiglottis, right? Okay. Then posteriorly on top of cricoid, we see two cartilages. This one and this one. This is called arytenoid cartilage. Arytenoid, we have two. They're pyramidal in shape. They have a base which sits on cricoid. They have an apex here. Do you see this small one? It's another cartilage, okay? So just look at this and this.
Mm-hmm.
So arytenoid has two processes. Here, anteriorly, we have a vocal process. A vocal process is for attachment of vocal cords. Vocal cords is the one which are responsible for voice production.
Mm-hmm.
And laterally, we have muscular process. So laterally, muscle is attached to here.
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of arytenoid, we have corniculate cartilage. Two very small. On top of corniculate, we have a smaller one. It's called coniform. Corniculate is also called Santorini, and coniform is also called Wisberg. Okay? And all these cartilages are hyaline cartilage, except epiglottis, which is elastic cartilage. Okay? Now, how many cartilages do we have in total? One epiglottis, one thyroid, one cricoid, two arytenoid, two coniform, two
So 9?
corniculate. What?
9?
Yes, we have 9. Okay. Then let's look at the membranes. They're easy. If you know the name of the cartilages, the membranes and muscles are easy. How do you call this membrane?
Thyroid.
thyrohyoid membrane, right?
Yes.
Thyrohyoid membrane. If you look at this thyrohyoid membrane, medially it has a median part and two lateral part. In the lateral part, you see two holes. What is it for?
Pierces by superior laryngeal artery.
Very good. So I told you also have nerve, but I told you superior laryngeal artery pierce here, right? Then you have a membrane here between cricoid and thyroid. So this is called
Cricothyroid.
cricothyroid membrane. Yes. So it has also a median portion. Do you know it's a place for conicotomy or cricothyrotomy? I will tell you what it is, but probably over here is cut.
Can you repeat? We didn't hear.
Have you seen in the cadaver that here is cut?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know why?
No.
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 It's called conicotomy. I will tell you why.
Okay.
And lateral cricothyroid membrane, it's called conus elasticus. Yeah. So lateral cricothyroid is called conus elasticus. Now. Let's look at this picture. Here. So what is this?
Epiglottis.
Yes, this is epiglottis. What is this? Thyroid cartilage. What is this?
Cricoid.
Cricoid cartilage. Yes. What is this membrane?
It's cricothyroid.
Yeah. Yeah. And lateral cricothyroid membrane, it means here, this is called conus elasticus. Okay? Okay. Let me find, there is another picture in your book. Let's look from above. Yeah, here. Okay. Look at here. This is, you're looking from above, okay? So it's this ring shape.
Yes.
What is it?
Is it
cricoid? Yes. What is this?
This one.
Thyroid.
Yes.
What is this on top of cricoid? Arytenoid. We said arytenoid has a vocal process for vocal cords. So do you see these two vocal ligaments?
Yes.
They're attached to the vocal plexus. And laterally it has muscular process, so muscle is attached to it. Now look at this picture. Which view is it, anterior or posterior?
Posterior.
Yes, anteriorly it's like that. So this is posterior view. This is epiglottis, and if I put a finger or something in this, it shows you. So inside this we have
Larynx.
cavity of larynx. Yes, the entrance of the larynx is called adytus laryngi. Okay, what's the border? So we have epiglottis. Here we call these two ari, epiglottic fold. Why? Because this is cricoid. What do we have on top of cricoid here? Arytenoid. What is on top of arytenoid? This small one is corniculate and this is coniform, right? So we call this fold ari, epiglottic folds, these two. And here is called interarytenoid notch because it's between the two arytenoids. Okay. Now, if I make a knife here and open the cavity of the larynx, we open it. You see this picture? Is it true?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So we see this picture. Now, here we have the vocal folds here. Under these vocal folds, what do we have? Vocal ligaments. Yes? So these are the ones which are responsible for the voice. Probably you've heard in histo true vocal folds. So it are these ones. And then here you also have two elevations. These are called vestibular fold. Under these folds we have vestibular ligament. So these are false vocal folds.
Okay.
If we continue from vestibular ligaments on side, there is a ligament. It's called quadrangular membrane. Okay? So it's the continuation of this. Okay. Then, so here we have vocal folds, which what do we have under vocal ligaments? They are also called tururucal folds because responsible for voice production. Here we have vestibular fold. Under this we have vestibular ligaments. So we call it false vocal fold. Okay? The cavity here, it's called vestibule. So above the vestibular fold, this cavity is called vestibule. Then between the two folds, this cavity here is called ventricle.
Like between the true and false?
Between the two folds is called ventricle. And below the vocal fold, the true vocal fold here is called subglottic or infraglottic. So we divide the cavity of larynx into vestibule, ventricle, and subglottic or infraglottic. Okay? Now look at here. We said these vocal folds, they're responsible for voice production. So these ones, when you talk, they get narrow. When you breathe, they're open. When you swallow, they're closed, right?
Yes.
So the space between these two vocal folds that change, it's called rhimma glottis. Yeah? So the space between the two vocal folds is called rhimma glottis. And then we call rhimma glottis with the two vocal folds glottitis. Glottitis.
Where is called?
What?
Where is it?
So the space between the two vocal folds, it's called rhimma glottis. Then we call rhimma glottis with the vocal folds, all of them together, glottitis. Yeah? So the cavity of larynx is divided into vestibule, ventricle, subglottic or infraglottic. Ventricle is between the false vocal fold or vestibular fold and true vocal fold. And the two vocal fold, the true one, they're the one which are responsible for voice production. So there is a variable space between them. This space is called rhimma glottis, which is closed during swallowing, get narrows during phonation or speaking, and it's open during respiration. Then we call rhimma glottis together with vocal folds glottitis. Okay? So here I ask you, do you know why they cut in the middle between cricoid and thyroid? It's called conicotomy or cricothyrotomy. Because look, when these vocal folds, they get close, okay? And they cannot open. So the breathing would be hard.
Okay.
So they directly should open somewhere that the air can enter to the trachea. It means it should be after this level, okay? Because if you open somewhere here, so the air come here, but it still stop here. So it should be after this level. What is after this level? It should be here in subglottic. So if I continue, it's between cricoid and thyroid. So they pierce median cricothyroid membrane. They just do it in emergency case, right? So the air can go directly into subglottic or infraglottic and to the trachea. Okay. Now let's go go to the muscles of larynx. We divide the muscles of larynx into extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic, they have elevator and depressors, and you already know them. They are suprahyoid and infrahyoid muscle. So suprahyoid, they're elevators, infrahyoid, they're depressors, because the cartilages of the larynx, they have attachment to the hyoid bone. So hyoid bone, suprahyoid and infrahyoid, they also have a function for larynx, right?
Yeah.
Then we have intrinsic muscles. So they have action on vocal fold. If you understand the cartilages, the name of the muscles is so easy. Look, what is this muscle?
Cricothyroid.
Exactly, cricothyroid, and it is the only muscle of the larynx which you can see in the neck because it's anteriorly. The rests are posteriorly, so you can see cricothyroid in the neck between cricoid and thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
And all the muscles are paired, so you have on this side, also on the other side. This muscle has two heads, a straight head and oblique head. So this is cricothyroid.
Okay.
Then what is this? Which cartilage is here? On top, what is this?
Arytenoid.
Yes. So what is this muscle?
It's coricoarytenoid.
Exactly. So it's cricoarytenoid, and we have two. Posterior cricoarytenoid and one is here, lateral cricoarytenoid. You can see it here. This is posterior, is crico, this is arytenoid. Posterior cricoarytenoid and this is lateral cricoarytenoid, right?
Yes.
And both of them are paired.
Yes.
Then look at this. Which cartilage do we have here? Arytenoid. So this muscle is between the two arytenoids. It's called interarytenoid. And we have transverse and oblique.
Okay.
Okay? If you continue oblique interarytenoid, it continues as
Vocalis.
epiglottic.
Epiglottic.
Yeah? Epiglottic. Okay.
So
What else do-
epiglottic is continuation of interarytenoid.
Oblique arytenoid, yeah. This is oblique, do you see?
Yeah.
And it becomes epiglottic, part of oblique arytenoid. Yeah? Then, what else do we have? Look at here. What is this? Between, what is this cartilage?
Thyroid.
Thyroid. And what is this?
Arytenoid.
So what is this?
Thyroarytenoid.
Thyroarytenoid. So we have thyroarytenoid cartilage, yeah?
Yes.
And this one, the last one. What is this? On each
Vocalis.
side of vocal fold. So this is called a vocalis muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then what I'm gonna tell you is very important. Function of these muscles. Okay?
Okay.
Action of these muscles. This was cricothyroid. So what's the function of cricothyroid? So how do you call? Do you know, like, for example, we have relaxation. How do we call when two things get close, go far away?
Abductor, adductor.
Abduction, yes. And what else do we need? Tension and relaxation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here the first one is cricothyroid. What does it do? It's pulling.
Adductor.
It's pulling. Adduction or adduction is like that. It's pulling. So what does it do?
Adductor.
It's increase the tension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? This is pulling, is tension. Abductor and adductor is like this. Go away or get close. Then here we have this muscle. What is it? Between the two arytenoid.
Interarytenoid.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So it's this interarytenoid, between the two arytenoid. What does it do? They get close. So it's adduction.
Adduction, yes.
Yes. Here we have lateral cricoarytenoid, and here we have posterior cricoarytenoid. You see, they have opposite function. Lateral one, what does it do?
Adductor.
If you pull the muscle, so it's adductor. What about this? If you pull the muscle, what does it do? Abduction. So you see, you have two muscles that they're doing adduction, but you have just one muscle which can open. So if this muscle, posterior cricoarytenoid, is the only muscle that can open, get paralyzed, so it's very dangerous, right? Okay. Then what about these muscles, thyroarytenoid and vocalis? What do they do? It's opposite of this. So it's relaxation. Yeah. Okay. Now we have to talk about innervation of the larynx. Okay, now listen to me. Okay. What is innervation of the larynx? What do you think? Which nerve gives innervation to the larynx?
Superior laryngeal.
So first we have vagus nerve, okay? Vagus nerve gives two branches, superior laryngeal nerve and inferior laryngeal nerve, or recurrent laryngeal nerve.
Yes.
Where do you find superior laryngeal nerve?
The membrane.
What?
The
You can. Where does vagus give superior laryngeal nerve? In the parapharyngeal space. So in parapharyngeal space, if you see a branch is coming out from vagus, this is superior laryngeal nerve. Okay. What about inferior laryngeal nerve? When does it give inferior laryngeal nerve? Olivia, I told you today in thorax. The vagus gives a recurrent laryngeal nerve here. In the right side, around subclavian artery. In the left side, around arch of aorta. Okay, so this is vagus nerve. In the right side gives inferior or recurrent laryngeal nerve, which goes around right subclavian artery. In the left side, it goes around arch of aorta. Both of them go upward, and you can find recurrent laryngeal nerves next to the trachea. So if you see a nerve next to the trachea, what is this nerve?
in
Recurrent laryngeal nerve. Are you here, Abdullah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so what is this? This one is coming from up. So what is this? Superior laryngeal nerve. Both superior and inferior laryngeal nerve are split into two. Both of them give external branch and internal branch. Okay? Internal branches of both is sensory. Do you remember? Here we have thyroid membrane. Yeah?
It's pierced.
Internal branch of superior laryngeal nerve, which is sensory, pierce the thyroid membrane and goes and gives sensory innervation to the vestibule. It means area above the vocal fold. Internal branch of recurrent laryngeal nerve is also sensory, and it gives sensory to the area below the vocal fold. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Motor branch of recurrent laryngeal nerve give innervation to all intrinsic muscles of larynx, all of them. Just except one. Look, what is this muscle which is outside?
Thoracotheroid.
Which nerve give innervation to it? Superior laryngeal nerve, right? So external branch of both are motor. External branch of superior laryngeal nerve give innervation just to cricothyroid. The rest of the muscles are innervated by recurrent laryngeal nerve. So now all the muscles of tongue are innervated by
Hypoglossus.
Except,
Palatoglossus.
which is by?
Vagus.
All the muscles of soft palate are innervated by? Pharyngeal plexus. Except?
The
Sorvili palatini,
Yeah.
which is mandibular.
mandibular.
All the muscles of pharynx are innervated by? Pharyngeal plexus, except stylopharyngeus, which is innervated by glossopharyngeal nerve.
Yeah.
All the muscles of larynx are innervated by recurrent or inferior laryngeal nerve, except cricothyroid, which is innervated by superior laryngeal nerve. Okay?
But the extrinsic ones,
Extrinsic, there's suprahyoid and infrahyoid. So we talked about before.
okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about blood supply of larynx? We have superior laryngeal and inferior laryngeal artery. So when you have thyrohyoid membrane here, the internal branch of superior laryngeal nerve pass through also superior laryngeal artery. Superior laryngeal artery is a branch of?
External superior thyroid, external
From
carotid.
external carotid. Yeah. What about inferior laryngeal artery is a branch of?
Thyrocervical trunk of subclavian artery.
From inferior thyroid, from thyrocervical trunk of subclavian. Good. Was it hard, larynx?
Too much.
Yeah, it's just few days, right? This is what we usually teach in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Each week one lesson.
Yeah, it's too much.
Okay. Now let's go to the nerves. In your book is plate here. 125. Okay. What we're saying now is theory, okay? Because we have a topic about the nerves like 9, 10, 12.
Yes.
So we start one by one. We also bring to a skull. Okay. We start from cranial nerve 9, glossopharyngeal nerve. Is it sensory, motor, or mixed?
Mixed.
Mixed. How does it leave the skull?
Jugular.
Yes. Glossopharyngeal nerve is the only nerve that leaves the skull and goes back in again. So it leaves the skull through jugular foramen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When it goes out, here is jugular foramen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Between jugular foramen and carotid canal, here there is a structure. Have you heard about fistula petrusa?
Yeah, fossilla vitrosa.
On the fistula petrusa, you have a small canaliculi. It says tympanic canaliculi.
Yeah.
Here, glossopharyngeal nerve give a branch which is called tympanic nerve. So tympanic nerve goes to the tympanic canaliculi and goes toward the ear. So comes out from here under the tegment tympani.
Mm-hmm.
Tympanic nerve mixed with some sympathetic fibers and form a plexus. It's called tympanic plexus. From this plexus, we get a branch which is called lesser petrosal nerve. Do you remember here we have a groove for lesser petrosal nerve? So lesser petrosal nerve goes to the groove for lesser petrosal nerve and leave the skull through foramen lacerum. Some books they say ovale, so it has variation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When it goes out from lacerum, now let's look at this picture. What happens to it? It goes into which ganglion?
Otic ganglion.
Exactly. So look, it goes out and bring periganglionic parasympathetic fibers for optic ganglion for innervation of parotid gland, right? So now you learn two branches of glossopharyngeal nerve. Tympanic nerve, which is also called nerve of Jacobson, and lesser petrosal nerve, which gives innervation to, which carry fibers for the optic ganglion. What else? We said we have a muscle which is called a stylopharyngeus muscle. All the muscles of pharynx are innervated with pharyngeal plexus except a stylopharyngeus which get direct branch from glossopharyngeal nerve. So next branch is nerve to stylopharyngeus, okay? Then what is pharyngeal plexus? We said pharyngeal branch of vagus joined with pharyngeal branch of glossopharyngeal form pharyngeal plexus. So next branch, they're called pharyngeal branches. We also have a branch which give innervation to the palatine tonsil. So we have tonsillar branch. And today, Olivia said general and taste sensation to the posterior 1/3 of the tongue is through glossopharyngeal nerve. So it gives lingual branch. If you remember, I told you before, what is the carotid sinus and carotid body? Glossopharyngeal nerve. So it gives carotid branch. It's also called nerve of herring. Some examiners, they ask it, what is nerve of herring? It's the branch of glossopharyngeal which innervates carotid sinus and carotid body, okay? So glossopharyngeal, after it leaves the skull, it gives two ganglion, superior and inferior ganglion. From these ganglions, we get a lot of branches. What do we have? 7. Tympanic nerve, lesser petrosal nerve, nerve to stylopharyngeus, pharyngeal branch, tonsillar branch, lingual branch, and carotid branches or branch. Okay?
Yes.
Let's go to the vagus. So vagus nerve, how does it leave the skull?
Jugular.
Yes, vagus nerve leave the skull through jugular foramen. Is it a good picture? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
When it leaves the skull, it also gives two ganglion, superior and inferior ganglion. It gives meningeal branch and do you see auricular branch? Meningeal branch go to the skull for meninges. Auricular branch goes behind the ear. Then we learn today it gives superior laryngeal nerve, which is split into internal and external. It also gives here recurrent laryngeal or inferior laryngeal nerve, which also is split into external and internal. Yeah? Internal branches of both are sensory, external branches are motor. Okay, what else do we have from vagus? We have cardiac branch. For what? For heart. Do you remember, Abdullah?
Yes.
We talked a lot of cardiac branches with three plexuses. Yeah? So it gives cardiac branch. Then the next nerve is accessory nerve. Which cranial nerve is it?
11.
11. Is it sensory, motor, or mix? This is motor. So glossopharyngeal and vagus are mixed. This is
Motor.
motor. Okay, look. Have you ever, do you remember, like you hear a spinal root of accessory nerve? What does it mean?
Like from where it comes?
Accessory nerve has two roots. Look, this is brain, this is the spinal cord. Do you see here?
Yes.
Accessory nerve, it has one root which is coming from brain, so we call it cranial root.
Okay.
And it has one part which comes from a spinal cord, from the upper fifth.
Ulnar nerve.
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you see?
Yeah.
So it has also a spinal root. The spinal root, it goes up, enter the foramen magnum. When enter the foramen magnum, it joins with the cranial root. Now both of them together leave the jugular foramen as accessory nerve. Okay? When they leave the jugular foramen, again they split into two. The spinal root, this is a spinal root. The spinal root innervates sternocleidomastoid and trapezius. The cranial root, look, these two are ganglions of vagus. The cranial root is this one. The cranial root join with the ganglion of vagus. So wherever vagus goes, you also have cranial root of the accessory nerve. Yeah? What about hypoglossal nerve? Where does it start from? What is the first place that you can find hypoglossal nerve? It comes out from hypoglossal canal. First we saw it in parapharyngeal space.
Yes.
Do you remember? In parapharyngeal space. Then it comes anteriorly. You can find it in the neck above internal jugular and carotid. It goes to lateral lingual groove or lateral space of the tongue and enters the oral cavity, give motor innervation to the muscles of tongue. Okay, let's do a game. Whatever we did for nerves, we make a summary, okay?
Okay.
We do sensory. What is the sense? Just tell me the main nerve is enough. What is the sensory innervation of face?
Trigeminal.
Yes. What is the sensory innervation of cranium? It means back of the head.
The cervical plexus.
Just,
And
it was yesterday's lesson. We talked about 4 nerves, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 of them from cervical plexus, 2 of them from dorsal rami. Yeah? So greater auricular, lesser occipital, greater occipital, third occipital.
yes.
What is the sensory of neck?
Cervical plexus.
Sensory branches of cervical plexus. Yeah? What is the sensory for nasal cavity?
Nasal cavity. Trigeminal.
So now tell me which branch. So anteriorly,
We have anterior ethmoidal.
yes, anteriorly we have anterior ethmoid,
And
internal nasal branch, and posteriorly we have branch of
posterior ethmoidal.
what?
Posterior ethmoidal.
No. Maxillary.
Okay.
Yeah, we said it comes in from a sphenopalatine. We
Yeah,
have
yeah,
nasopalatine nerve. So
Yeah.
posteriorly we have branch of maxillary.
Okay.
What about sensory of oral cavity? What do we have here in the middle?
Chorda tympani.
Not for the tongue, sensory of mucosa,
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Here nasopalatine.
Yeah.
In the hard palate,
Greater palatine.
yes. In the soft palate,
Lesser palatine.
yes. In the floor of oral cavity, Olivia, lingual. On the cheek,
Buccal.
buccal branch of what? Who said facial? Buccal branch of facial is motor. Buccal branch of mandibular nerve from anterior division.
Yes.
What about for pharynx? We have nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. It's not so important, but if you want to know, for nasopharynx, we have maxillary. For oropharynx, we have glossopharyngeal. For laryngopharynx, we have vagus. Okay? What about sensory of tongue? Just general. We're talking about general sensation. What is sensory of tongue?
Lingual and glossopharyngeal.
Yeah, anterior to the lingual, posterior one to glossopharyngeal. What is the sensory of larynx?
Internal branches of superior and inferior laryngeal.
Okay, let's go to motor. What is motor of face?
Facial nerve for the facial expression muscles,
Yeah.
and mandibular for the mastication muscles.
Yes. Olivia, what is the motor of neck?
And cervicalis.
No. I told you, whenever I ask you about motor, think about group of muscle. Like for the face, we said we have 2 groups. In the neck, how many groups do we have?
3.
We have 5, like the last 2 are, we just say cervical, spinal, but for 3 of them, we went through one by one. Ansa cervicalis is just for infrahyoid muscle. So whenever they ask you about motor innervation of the neck, first you should say superficial neck muscles, which are sternocleidomastoid and trapezius platysma with blah blah blah, suprahyoid with blah, infrahyoid. So you should separate them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then we did today for tongue, soft palate, pharynx, larynx. Okay, let's have a review at the nerves. Which nerves do we find in posterior of the neck? I mean in parapharyngeal space.
Vagus,
Okay,
hypoglossus,
yeah,
glossopharyngeal,
yeah,
and accessory,
yeah,
and sympathetic trunk.
good. So 9, 10, 11, 12 sympathetic trunk. Also, if vagus, you see a branch coming out from vagus.
Superior
what it is?
laryngeal.
Superior laryngeal nerve. Okay, now a question. Among 9, 10, 11, 12 sympathetic, you can also see all of them anteriorly in the neck except one. What is that?
Glossopharyngeal.
Yes. So in the neck, you can see 10, 11, 12 sympathetic, but glossopharyngeal is just visible in parapharyngeal space, okay? What about in the face? Which nerves can we see?
In the face.
Yeah, just in the face superficially.
We can see supraorbital, supratrochlear,
Yeah,
infraorbital.
yeah,
We can see the branches of the facial nerve,
yeah.
and what else?
One more in front of ear.
Auricular temporal.
Auricular temporal, yes. So in the neck, we said we can see 10, 11, 12 sympathetic. Yeah?
Yeah.
What else can we see?
We can see also lingual nerve.
Yeah?
Mental. We can see mental.
Mental is in the face. Now say in the neck.
Okay.
What do you see on top of scalene anterior?
Phrenic.
What do you see between the scalene anterior and middle?
Brachial plexus.
What do we see in front of internal jugular vein?
Ansa cervicalis.
Yes. Now a question. What do you see around subclavian artery?
Ansa subclavia.
Also,
Recurrent larynx.
very good. Which one? Right one. Because left one goes around arch of aorta. Yeah? Which nerve is on each side of trachea, lateral to the trachea?
The inferior larynx.
Very good. So you see, that's it.
Yeah.
So if you study, it's not hard to find, okay? If you know what you should find.
Yes.
Yeah. Should we have a look at the topic, please?
Yeah. Uh, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12, and it's only theory, right?
Yeah,
The
except the
branches.
ones that we talked about.
Yeah,
Like
superior, laryngeal, and inferior.
for 9 we didn't show any branches, but for 10 superior laryngeal and inferior
Superior laryngeal.
pharyngeal you should find. Should I? So it says practical examination. Then it's here.
Yeah,
Like they change the topic.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. We start from here, then we get back to the first, which are called infratemporal fossa.
We did, yes.
Muscles of face and cranium.
What's a cranium?
Cranium, it means on the back, so you should just talk about occipitalis. And here, cranium, you have occipital,
Yeah.
frontalis. So this muscle, they want you to mention.
Okay.
Here, when infratemporal fossa, you know where it is, right? Ramus is removed. We talk about borders and structures that you should show.
Yes.
Muscles of face, we divide into facial expression and mastication. For facial expression, you should know function and innervation. For mastication, you should also know origin and insertion. Okay? So look at the table of your book if you don't remember what I told you. Sensory of face, what is it?
So, trigeminal.
Trigeminal. So you should talk about trigeminal nerve. Sensory of cranium, what is it? These 4 nerves that we talked about, 2 of them from cervical plexus, 2 of them from dorsal rami. Motor of face. So facial expression, you should talk about facial nerve. Mastication, you should talk about mandibular nerve, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Motor of cranium, occipitalis muscle is also a muscle of facial expression, so it's innervated by facial nerve.
Yes.
Autonomic innervations of organs of the head. So you should say the organs are lacrimal gland, submandibular, sublingual, parotid, and small glands in the oral and nasal cavity. So basically salivary glands. You talk about ganglions, peri and postganglionic fibers. Usually it's enough. If they ask you about sympathetic, you say the sympathetic fibers from superior ganglion carry through arteries, and you mention the name of the arteries. Okay?
Yes.
Common carotid artery. You should know right side comes from brachiocephalic trunk, left side arch of aorta, goes up at the level of thyroid cartilage, divide into external and internal. Here they ask you, let them ask you about carotid sinus, carotid body, what they are, what is the innervation of carotid sinus and body, glossopharyngeal nerve.
Okay.
External and internal carotid cervical part. It means you don't have to know the branches in the brain, but you have to know internal carotid. Give no branch in the neck, enters the carotid canal and go to the skull, okay? External carotid, we talked about the branches that go 3 anteriorly, 1 in the middle, 2 posteriorly, then goes up and divide into terminal branches, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Venous drainage of head and neck, we summarized everything from up till heart. So whatever I told you, you should also summarize like that and tell them. Lymphatic drainage of the head and neck, same thing, like we did it from up till angulus venosus, right?
Yeah.
Parotid gland, so you should talk about like where it is, and then structures that are at the level of parotid gland. We talked about superficial temporal artery, superficial temporal vein, retromandibular vein, auriculotemporal nerve, facial nerve that pierces the parotid gland. Then they can ask you about parotid duct, where does it open, what's the name of the duct, Stenson duct, and innervation of the parotid gland, okay? So if it is something that you don't know the answer, tell me whenever I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you understand everything?
Yeah.
So just ask me if it is something that you don't know the answer. Trigeminal nerve, this is your first lesson.
Yeah.
I started from ganglion. We said what happens for ophthalmic, maxillary, mandibular. You do the same thing.
Okay.
Facial nerve, we did it also from internal acoustic meatus, all the pathway, branches, everything, and function of the branches. Yeah?
Yeah.
Glossopharyngeal, vagus accessory. So pathway, so these 3, they're theory.
Yes.
After they can ask you about other structures. Oral cavity. So in the oral cavity, there are a lot of things to talk about. Borders, then tongue, muscles of tongue, soft palate, sensory innervation of mucosa of oral cavity. Don't forget the exit of oral cavity is called facial isthmus, right?
Yes.
And it leads to oropharynx.
Oropharynx.
Nasal cavity. Here they can ask you about bony nasal cavity. It depends on the examiner. Usually they ask about, perpendicular plate of palatine bone is in the lateral wall of nasal cavity posteriorly.
Yeah.
So they ask to show this because it's tricky a bit. The other bones are easy. Then opening of sinuses, if it belongs to anatomy, do whatever we did.
Do they ask us about paranasal sinuses, like I have to say all the details from anatomy 1 or no?
Like whatever I told you, where each sinus, where does it open?
Yeah, I know this, but the other things like
Like
the
at
size,
which age?
big, yeah.
No.
Okay.
Fascia and muscles of neck. Muscles of neck, we divide them into different groups. And then fascia, we talked about investing pretracheal, prevertebral. Here they ask you what is carotid sheath, what is axillary sheath, what do they contain, okay?
Yes.
Cervical plexus.
Read it.
So from anterior rami of C1 to C4, they form cervical plexus. We have 4 sensory branches and 2 motor branches. You mention, you show them, and you tell the function of the motor branches, okay? Posterior triangle of the neck or lateral cervical region. This is the 2 triangles that we talked about, omonclavicular and omotrapezoid. Then brachial plexus, cervical part. It means the part which is above clavicle. Parapharyngeal space. Today's lesson, border and content. So you have to lift the head up and show them. Scalenotracheal fossa. It was between the scalene anterior and trachea, and the structures could go to the thorax and it come out, right? Subclavian artery. So we divide into 3 parts and we talked about the branches. Pharynx. So either they give you a specimen, it looks like, it's a half head, right? And you can talk about nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx.
Yeah.
And then, or they can lift the head up and ask you the muscles. And do you remember it was cut? You could see concave, you could see root of the tongue, you could see epiglottis. Do you remember that picture?
Yes.
Then larynx. So they can give you the model, plastic model. Also, you have a specimen. It looks like what I showed you. It looks like this. It looks like this, right? So you can see vestibule, ventricle, subglottis. So you can talk about larynx. It has a lot of things to talk about. So like cartilage, muscle, cavity of larynx, blood supply, innervation, right? Anterior cervical region. This is basically like the whole neck. Some examiners, they ask about all triangles like submental, submandibular, carotid, everything, right? Suboccipital region. So you should talk about suboccipital triangle, the muscles, and what is the content of this triangle. Yeah. Do you know where does the fish bone stick?
What?
Fish bone.
No.
Look. Here between tongue and epiglottis there is a depression. Do you see?
Yes.
It's called vallecula. So the fish bone can stick here. Okay, so the first 3 topics is called internal surface of cranial base. Basically, did I close it?
Yeah.
So you know what it is, internal cranial base, right?
Yeah.
So basically you should know everything from skull. So here, anterior, middle, posterior cranial fossa, you should know the bones, like which bone is this, which bone, and all the openings. Usually, because it's anatomy 2, they don't ask like anatomy 1. You're supposed to know, and they think you know. And of course, you know, like what is this bone, what is this bone.
Yes,
They
you
usually
know.
ask about openings and content of openings, like what passed through jugular foramen, what passed through foramen lacerum, what passed through ovale, okay?
Okay.
And then the next topic is external cranial base. So it's from the other side, here. All the openings, foramens, petrotympanic fissure is very important with chorda tympani. Groove for auditory, like the connections of pterygopalatine fossa, the 6 connection that I told you, pterygoid canal, sphenopalatine foramen.
Okay.
Find these in the skull. And then facial cranium, they're the bones of the face. Do you have my skull topics?
No.
No? So maybe you can ask for my skull topics, okay? And have a look at, if you don't remember, like maxilla, mandible, the parts, lacrimal bone, ethmoid bone.
Like, okay, I know the bones. Do I have to say like everything about them?
Like for example, about maxilla, it has 4 processes, like
Yeah, 4.
frontal process, palatine process.
Process.
I don't know how they ask, you know.
Okay.
I'm not examiner. I'm afraid that I say, yes, you have to know everything. You put time and they don't ask. And I'm afraid to say, no, you go through everything. You just don't go through this one and you get this topic, you know.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's better not to risk it because you have learned it before. If you just have a quick look, of course you will remember.
Okay, alright.
Okay?
Alright.
So just go through the bones, like what they were, but you don't need to know everything in detail, like, okay, what passed through foramen, cecum, emissary veins. Like, not like that. The big main ones, like supraorbital, infraorbital, like here is maxilla, what are the part of maxilla. You have to know this is palatine process, incisive canal, mental foramens. The parts of mandible is very important, condyle, coronoid process, mandibular notch, mandibular foramen. Where is palatine bone? Where is vomer, you know?
Yeah.
Where is ethmoid bone? Which ones are paired, which ones are unpaired? Ethmoid is unpaired, looks like T. It has a perpendicular line like this, which forms part of septum, and horizontal like this, which comes here in the middle of the orbit, also forms cripiform plate. What are the unpaired bones? We have 3.
Mandible.
Mandible, you know, during development is 2. But now is 1 because they're connected together through symphysis. Yeah? Ethmoid and vomer. Yeah? To know, like for example, here we have a sphenoid bone. This is frontal bone, zygomatic bone.
Yeah.
I think the only one which is tricky is palatine bone. The rest are easy.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't take your time. Go sit and study. Finish with the material. If it was anything